evening, you're watching the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. I am Sosan Ali, and here are main headlines. His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq, the Supreme Commander, pays the royal visit to the Sultan of Oman's artillery at the Royal Army of Oman. The Sultan's Special Force celebrates its annual day and graduates a batch of recruits. And Oman Annual Forum discusses in Muscat enhancing sustainability, knowledge and innovation-based economy. Those were the headlines. Now for the news in detail. His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq, the Supreme Commander, paid a royal visit today to the Sultan of Oman's artillery at the Royal Army of Oman. His Majesty was accompanied by His Highness Sayyid Yazan bin Haytham Al Saeed. Upon his Majesty's arrival at Izki Camp, the headquarters of the Sultan of Oman's artillery, he was received by Major General Matar Salim Al Balushi, Commander of the Royal Army of Oman, Commander of the Sultan of Oman's artillery, and commanders of the artillery units. His Majesty listened to a briefing on the Sultan of Oman's artillery, its equipment and various weapons, as well as its roles and national duties. His Majesty also inspected some models of artillery and technical equipment at air defense systems at the Sultan of Oman's artillery. After that, a commemorative photo was taken to His Majesty with personnel of the Sultan of Oman's artillery. Then His Majesty left Izki Camp, the headquarters of the Sultan of Oman's artillery. The Sultan's Special Force celebrated today its annual day and the passing out of a new batch of recruits. The ceremony was held at the military parade ground in the Sultan's Special Force garrison in the Governorate of Dhofar, under the auspices of His Excellency General Sultan Muhammad Al-Na'mani, Minister of the Royal Office. At the beginning of the ceremony, the Royal Guard of Oman's music band played the royal anthem. Then the graduates column saluted the chief guest, who inspected the front row. His Excellency, the Minister of the Royal Office, bent medals of excellent service and royal commendation on a number of the Sultan's Special Force senior officers, as well as commissioned and non-commissioned officers. The ceremony was attended by ministers, commanders of the Sultan's armed forces, heads of military and security units in Dhofar, as well as the Sultan's Special Force senior officers and retired senior officers. A delegation of officers studying in Higher Command course in Army War College in the Republic of India visited today Joint Command and Staff College in the Academy of Strategic Defense Studies in Muscat. The delegation was briefed on the college and its general curriculum in addition to facilities it includes. The strategic policies adopted by the Sultanate of Oman to face economic challenges, the efforts exerted to build national capacities, and the transition to an innovative-based economy, and topics discussed by the 11th Oman Annual Forum organized by the Economics World magazine with wide participation of various institutions and specialists. The forum aims to enhance the competitive capabilities of the Sultanate of Oman to integrate with the global economy and play an active role in global trade to achieve comprehensive and sustainable development and empower the private sector. The opening of the forum was held under the auspices of His Excellency Qais bin Muhammad Al Yusuf, Minister of Commerce, Industry and Investment Promotion. The International Committee for Red Cross praised the Sultanate of Oman's commitment to international humanitarian law, implementing Geneva's conventions and the 2 additions protocols for high contracting parties. That came in a workshop of international humanitarian law, which dwelt on challenges of enforcing the law on contemporary armed conflicts. The 3-day workshop was organized by Higher Judicial Institute in cooperation with the Commission of the International Committee for Red Cross in the Sultanate of Oman. The workshop included a number of work papers related to introducing international humanitarian law and the main principles that are based on the law. The workshop highlighted International Red Cross and Red Crescent movement in addition to the activities of the International Committee for Red Cross in the Sultanate of Oman. The workshop also tackled mechanisms of applying provisions of international humanitarian law in addition to principles of using force in light of the law. The Sultanate of Oman, represented by the Civil Aviation Authority, signed an air service agreement with the Republic of Tajikistan. The agreement aimed to regulate operational and technical aspects in the way that serves the common interests at the field of organizing air transport services between both countries. The agreement included economic and other provisions for organizational and operational cooperation that enable the designated airlines of the two countries to operate passenger and air freight flights between their airports. Those companies can also enter into cooperative agreements to exchange codes. The Sultanate of Oman received in the French capital Paris the certificate of inclusion of the Khanjar in the UNESCO representative list of the intangible cultural heritage of humanity. This listing aims to consolidate the Omani cultural identity, preserve it, and develop the knowledge associated with it by spreading Omani culture locally and abroad and investing it as a means to promote and introduce the Sultanate of Oman. The Ministry of Culture, Sports and Youth, in cooperation with the Omani National Commission for Education, Culture and Science, succeeded in listing the Khanjar craft skills and social practices associated with it in December last year. With the aim to grab attention to the children of this syndrome and to get acquainted with their needs, Oman Down Syndrome Association celebrated World Down Syndrome today. The celebration, which was organized in Muscat, offered a chance for both the community and parents to interact with children with Down syndrome and highlight their talents. His Highness Sayyid Dr. Fahad bin Al-Julanda Al Saeed, Vice Chancellor of Sultan Qaboos University, presided over the ceremony. Still to come in our news bulletin. The College of Banking and Financial Studies inaugurates the second International Conference on Banking, Finance and Business. Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. The Kremlin said today that its relations with the United States were in a lamentable state and at its lowest level after Washington accused Russia of drowning one of its drones over the Black Sea. Kremlin spokesman said there had been no high-level contact with Washington over the incident and that he had nothing to add to a statement issued by Russia's defense ministry. He said bilateral relations were at their lowest point, but that at the same time, Russia has never refused constructive dialogue and is not refusing now. The U.S. military surveillance drone that crashed into the Black Sea may never be recovered, White House spokesman said today after the craft was intercepted by Russian fighter jets, worsening relations between Washington and Moscow. In the first such incident since the Ukraine war began, Russian Su-27 jets struck the propeller of the unmanned drone and made it inoperable. Russia's defense ministry blamed sharp maneuvering of the drone for the crash and said that its jets did not make contact.
I know that everyone here has heard that
the death toll in Malawi from tropical cyclone Freddy increased to 225, up from 190 reported yesterday. The Department of Disaster Management Affairs said in a statement that 707 people had been injured in the storm and 41 reported missing as heavy rain continued to affect several parts of the southern African country. A SpaceX Dragon 2 capsule carrying supplies for the International Space Station launched from Florida. The SpaceX launch vehicle, consisting of a Falcon 9 rocket topped with an operated Dragon 2 capsule, lifted off from NASA's Kennedy Space Center. A live NASA webcast shows the spacecraft ascending from the launch tower as its engines roared to life in clouds of vapor and reddish fireball that lit up the night sky. The International Space Station is a laboratory orbiting about 250 miles above Earth. With the participation of a number of researchers from countries, the works of the Second International Scientific Conference is launched at Sultan Qaboos University. The conference, which aims to focus on the activities of the students, discussed 43 working papers presented by a number of researchers and academics specialized in the students' affairs. The working papers focused on methods of developing the skills of the students in the university and their role in forming the students' personality. The opening ceremony was held under the auspices of Her Excellency Dr. Layla bint Ahmed al-Najjar, Minister of Social Development. The College of Banking and Financial Studies inaugurated today the second International Conference on Banking, Finance and Business. The event was presided over by His Excellency Nasser bin Khamis al-Jashmi, the Secretary General of the Ministry of Finance. More details in the coming report.
To assess the impact of digital transformation on the global economy, the College of Banking and Financial Studies inaugurated the second International Conference on Banking, Finance and Business under the theme Enhancing Economic Competitiveness in the Digital Era, Innovative Models and Strategies.
The main objective here is the people can exchange their ideas and bring the best practices in their country. So basically we wanted to prepare the global economy to face the new challenges which is emerging because of fourth industrial revolution, and so that they can bring out solution and they can prepare for digital economy.
Over a period of 2 days, 84 researchers and practitioners will address key topics in areas of banking and financial services, finance and economics, as well as business, technology and entrepreneurship.
The key to digital transformation is not just about the adoption of digital technologies. It's about thinking differently of how we do business. And basically, how can we create new business models, new processes, and new ways of working to improve and enhance the customer experience, and how to leverage on data and analytics to introduce new products, new services to meet the growing and increasing customer needs.
I'm going to talk about digital leapfrogging and the opportunity for digital transformation at speed, and that we do not need to go anymore in steps to achieve digital transformation, because emerging digital technology allows us to make huge steps forward.
The conference endeavors to explore the possible ways in which the competitiveness of the global economy can be enhanced for sustainable socio-economic development.
The deliberations of the conference will provide profound insights into the needed support for digital transformation to achieve a robust and resilient economy. From the College of Banking and Financial Studies, Saleh Bukhalfan al-Rahbi, Muscat.
The Sultanate of Oman, represented by the Consumer Protection Authority, participated with the international community in celebrating World Consumer Rights Day, which falls on the 15th of March every year. On this occasion, the Omani Association for Consumer Protection organized a symposium that discussed empowering consumers to shift towards clean energy, the global challenges, and variables associated with this aspect. The annual event, marked this year under the theme Plastic Waste Treatment, is an opportunity to collaborate and respond to international consumer activities by enhancing the basic rights of consumers and demanding respect for such rights. It also highlights the power of consumers to establish a fair, secure, and sustainable market. This is the Sultanate of Oman television. Before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq, the Supreme Commander, pays a royal visit to the Sultan of Oman Artillery at the Royal Army of Oman. The Sultan's Special Force celebrates its annual day and graduates a batch of recruits. And Oman Annual Forum discusses in Muscat enhancing sustainability, knowledge, and innovation-based economy. With that, we come to the end of tonight's bulletin. From all of us here at the newsroom and the studios, it's good night and stay safe.